Hi, I'm Jeffrey H. Haskell, and I'm coming at you today with my Scrivener setup and a little video I like to call How to Set Up Scrivener for Success. Now, everyone has a different way they set up Scrivener. There's no real wrong way to do it, and there's no real wrong way to be a writer. It just involves doing it. And with Scrivener, it's a little unique because you have a lot of powerful options. It's pretty much the standard among authors, especially from the indie authors that I know. I actually only know a couple of TradPub authors, and I think most of them use Word because that's the industry standard for Word for TradPub is Word. However, a lot of indie authors like myself, we use Scrivener, we use Word, we use Vellum, we use whatever tools we can to make it successful. And today I am going to show you how I have my Scrivener set up. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is a friend of mine hopped in one of my videos and said, "Oh my gosh, look at all the colors." So what I'm going to show you here are the colors that we have here. So first thing you'll notice is that you're going to say, "Jeff, your nut job, you write with a pink background, and you have Comic Sans instead of Times New Roman." That is correct. I am a nut job. But that has nothing to do with why I'm actually writing this way. Your Times New Roman font 12, size 12 is the industry standard. Everybody accepts that and recognizes it. The big part of writing is writing files and books in a way that editors and formatters can all understand. However, when you're actually writing the book, it needs to be written in a way that it makes it most conducive for you to write. And for me, that's Scrivener with pink background and in Comic Sans. Why? Because I'm dyslexic and I have ADD, and that is like a 1-2 punch to the gut. Not only can I not spell because I think I've spelled right, I don't see the errors because my brain is so used to fixing all the errors for me that I just breeze right over them. However, with Comic Sans, the shape of each individual letter is unique, and with the pink background, it makes my brain work harder to decipher the letters correctly. So that's why I have the pink background and in the Comic Sans. Now you notice on the left we have a whole bunch of different colors here. Don't let that scare you. I'll make those disappear for right now. These are how I have most of my books set up. I'm a very big fan of the 3-act structure and Hero's Journey. I love those structures. They're the root of all myth, and it's fantastic for me to write in those, and I feel connected to writers that come before me, but that's besides the point. So what I'll do is when I'm coming up with a story, I'll come up with some preliminary notes, just some ideas of what I want to have in the story. Why does the story work? What's the genre I'm going for? Who's this book appeal to? That's a really big one as an indie author. You really, if you know nothing else, you need to know who's going to read your book. Who are you writing the book for? Because if you're just writing the book for yourself, that's fantastic. Just write the book for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't also then go, why am I not making money? Because while you might, it's very difficult to write for an audience of want to make money. So for me, you will see here how I've got, that's part of what I do. And then I go to structure notes, and then I use Mary Robinette Kowal's MICE quotient, as she calls it. And it's actually, if you think it sounds like a math formula, it is. This is actually really kind of a clever way to break down stories. I'll go into this in a different video sometime because it's pretty cool. But basically, this is the structure notes I make for myself. Here's the 3 acts, the beginning, the middle, the end. And then those brackets at the bottom are more for my notes about the story. So this is how I break down structure of almost all my short stories, my novel stories, everything since about the beginning of last year. One of the things that's nice about being an indie author is you're constantly evolving. You don't have to be doing the same things the same way. Coke is lit. Coke is it. So it's really great to be able to change the way I do things and change things up and do things differently. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're going to technical story terms: hook, inciting incident, subplots, etc., etc. These are mostly just here for color-coded, so I know I can look up at a glance and go, right, this is the plot point, this is the first act. Most of these are self-explanatory, especially if you've been telling stories for any kind of time. You've got a theme which is complicated at best, especially when you're new to writing. Some new authors, they nail it right away, and some don't. I wasn't one of the ones who nailed it right away. I don't think I actually nailed anything right away. I've had to work really hard to learn all of it. Theme is extremely important, though, because it kind of interweaves your entire story together. And so you have a theme running for all your protagonists, and you have a theme running for your antagonists. In my books, they tend to be about duty and honor and friendship and stuff like that. In this book in particular, it's we don't leave people behind, whereas the enemy will leave people behind if it's expedient. It turns out they also will kill them if it's expedient. And then duty before self, which means your duty to your ship, to your crew, before your own your own importance. And then with the enemy itself before others, you got people who are go no, I'm more important. So the other ones didn't really work out as part of the story. I'm gonna go ahead and delete them now. So you got the inciting incident, which actually ended up not being the inciting incident. Hey, stories evolve as you are writing them. That is just one of the most important basic precepts. Whatever plan you have when you begin the story, it's okay if you don't stick to it. Stories evolve while you're writing them. And that is just true of any creative endeavor. So we've got, so the theme there, inciting incident. Now, inciting incident is the event that starts a story on its journey. So it's not the beginning of the movie or the beginning of the story, but it's whatever causes the hero to go on their journey, and or eventually causes the hero to go on this journey. So it's a pretty important moment in a story. And you get the hook. For me, the hook is just the opening. It's the what's going on here. I got to follow this book. I got to read these characters. I need to know. It's the oomph. In movies and TV shows these days, they do a lot of they bypass the hook a lot with in media res. I guess it's pronounced in media res, but I'm just going to go with in media res. And what that means is that you start in the action, right? So you ever watch a TV show or movie and there's cars blowing up and people chasing and screaming and giant monsters, and then it says the frame phrase freezes, and it says 72 hours earlier. That's in media res. I tend not to do that. I won't say I've never done that. I just tend not to. I don't use it over and over again. Subplots, pretty self-explanatory. I've got a couple. First act, second act, third act, self-explanatory. Plot points. Plot points are a big deal. Plot points are what compel. Yeah, plot points are what moves the story forward in a different direction. So if you imagine like you're going down a hill and you're going really fast, and there's a sign coming up, and when you're a kid, you grab that sign and it kind of pingles you off into a new direction. That's what a plot point is, and you have them every so often. So I've got my opening. I've got labels of prologue. It used to be very anti-prologue, but now I'm not so much. However, this book is going through Aethon books. The whole series is the Grim Reaper. No, Grimm's War series is going through Aethon Books, who are amazing publishers and authors in their own right. They'll probably ditch the prologue and just make a chapter one. So you got your all these are the hook. This is technically a hook, but it's a subplot. It's the beginning of the subplot, so it's the hook for the subplot. Then you got the inciting incident. You might notice it's not from the perspective of any of the main characters. It's perspective of one of the antagonists. And then you get into Act 1. Now, technically, the hook and the prologue and all that is Act 1. No question. That is true. Remember, this is not me teaching a class on story structure. This is me showing you how I structure my Scrivener. It's not how the story is structured. It's how my Scrivener is structured. So what I do is I put Act 1 here because I know this is when the inciting incident happens. This is when the story happens. Everything leading up to this point needs to match with this, but it also needs to begin something new. And then boom, plot point. And the plot point here is they get that distress signal and it sends the interceptor, which is my character ship, off in a new direction. And then you just sort of see how it goes throughout the rest of the story. You've got pink chapters are the main plot, gray chapters are the subplots, pink chapter. Now this is the plot points are the main plot as well, so they should be pink, but they're orange because they're the plot points. And then you got the halfway mark, which is the big giant reveal at the halfway mark. And then you got more subplots and main plots. And you'll notice here down at the bottom that the subplot ends right here, and that's because that's where the subplot's wrapped up. You'll also notice right here, the subplot starts after the book starts, and that's because subplots are wrapped up before the main plot. All right, and that's all I've got for you. And if you want any help setting up your Scrivener or you have any questions, please feel free to give me a holler.